For many esports, international competition is the pinnacle, the most important tournaments that exist. For League of Legends' inception, these exciting events would happen frequently. Intel Extreme Masters, IGN Pro League, Major League Gaming, World Cyber Games, and many more were some of the best tournaments we've ever had, and everyone loved them. Seeing your favorite team be pit against the world's best once every few months was exhilarating. Then, in true Riot Games fashion, the tournament circuit was handed over to the official company, and all of the independent international tournaments were wiped from existence. In its place, we received our new international format of MSI and Worlds. Worlds was the only one anyone cared about though, as MSI had a very underwhelming format that only allowed for one team from each region and lopsided matchups until the very end. MSI has seen a bit of a glow up since then, now allowing for many regions to submit 2 teams, and having much more interesting brackets, including the only double elimination international bracket we have. However, many fans still believe that more international competitions, akin to the older days, would be great. Riot has graciously heard our cries, and has responded with its new international tournament, First Stand. And, as expected, the format is not great. Do I really care about this tournament? To be honest, not really. But what I do care about is informing all of you about what you can expect, and who the teams are who have battled their way through some of the most questionable formats we've seen in Split 1 have to offer. First off, the format. Let's start with the good news. The tournament will feature Fearless Draft. That's it for the good news. There will be 5 teams competing, 1 from each of the 6 regions, with the exception of the LTA North and South being combined into 1 slot. The tournament is split into 2 stages, the group stage and the knockout stage. The group stage is comprised of a single round robin, where every team will play every other team once in a best of 3. This stage of the format will take place over 5 consecutive days, with 2 best of 3s per day. Once these are all concluded, the top 4 teams will move onto the knockout stage, which is a single elimination best of 5 bracket to determine who will take home the First Stand title, as well as granting their region a second direct spot into the MSI bracket stage, skipping play-ins. The tournament will start on March 10th at 4 AM EST, and will continue on for 7 consecutive days. Games will start at the same time every day with the exception of the semifinals, which will start at midnight EST on the 15th. To watch this event, we were actually given a large list of official streams for each country. Some of these can be found on the LoL Esports website. I won't go through them all, but here is a graphic that has every official stream location for all of the countries. If you enjoy co-streamers instead over the official broadcast, here is a list of every co-streamer as well. Riot, I know I literally just said 2 minutes ago that you ruined the international tournament circuit, but please give me co-streaming rights. I promise I don't hate you. With the format out of the way, let's get into the teams. We'll start off with the LCK, whose representative will be Hanwha Life Esports. They kept the bulk of their roster from last year, making only one change, a direct trade of top laners, swapping out Doran for Zeus. The season started out shaky for them, getting 2-0'd in their first series against Gen G, and also getting 2-1'd by Deep Plus Kia. After the group stage though, HLE played 4 separate 5-game best-of-5 series to win the title, beating all of the other top teams. Make no mistake, this team is the heavy favorite to win this tournament. With no disrespect to Doran, Zeus is a huge upgrade to the team that already won LCK in summer of 2024. Especially in Fearless Draft, Zeus has shown to be a monster with a wide champion pool of master champions. HLE is also far from perfect though. At their best, HLE is a monster of a team who can flawlessly navigate the complicated lane swap early game, and then close out the game with no room for a comeback. At their worst though, it can be hard to tell what the players on this team are thinking. If their name isn't Delight or Zeus, they've probably had their fair share of stinkers through the playoffs. This team doesn't have the consistency of 2024 Spring Gen G, and they don't have the same unpredictable firepower as Worlds T1. They do, however, have a solid core of players who can all step up when needed, and it would be a huge upset if they were to lose this tournament. Next, we'll go over the LPL, which is sending Top Esports. On paper, this roster doesn't look too bad. They're the same Top Esports who placed second in both splits in 2024, except they swapped TN for Kanavi, who many saw as an upgrade. If you look a little closer though, this run may not be as great as it may seem. Top Esports lost 2 separate best-of-5s this season so far, both of which were to Anyone's Legend in a 3-1 scoreline. Once in Demacia Cup finals, and once in their Split 1 group. Top Esports beat AL in the finals, but a look at the series would show you that this was one of the worst series AL has played, with very obvious nerves coming into play. On paper, Top Esports also had quality wins against BLG and JDG in playoffs, but these 2 wins also have some asterisks. JDG has been having generationally terrible drafts that have lost them multiple series that they could have and should have won, and BLG looks worse this split than they've looked in a while, dropping a best of 5 to Thunder Talk in groups as well. As a team, Top Esports has some drafting issues. Kanavi specifically has been struggling to adapt to the meta, opting for his regular carry picks like Lee Sin and Viego over the meta champions. Each member of the team also seems to be struggling a bit individually, having some great performances here and some mediocre ones there. In my opinion, you could probably run the LPL playoffs again multiple times and have a different winner each time. I believe Top Esports, JDG, Anyone's Legend, BLG, NIP, and ThunderTalk were all capable of winning the split with the right series of events happening for each team, and Top Esports was the one who escaped this time. Regardless, I think all 6 of those teams would have come in as sizable underdogs to HLE. Make no mistake though, Top Esports should still be seen as the next best team, a tier above the other 3. Next up is the LEC, and as a pleasant surprise, the representative is in fact not G2 Esports. At first, the split seemed like it would be much of the same. G2 struggled a bit in the first few weeks, but then bounced back and ended the round robin with a 4-win streak. They beat GX 2-0, then beat the group stage leader Fnatic 2-0, and then beat KC 3-1 in semifinals. Everyone was saying that it would just be another G2 title at this point. On the other side of the bracket though, KC was having the split of their lives. I'll admit it, I was a doubter. I did not think KC would even make playoffs this split. I thought Kalist and Vladi were too inexperienced and that Targamas didn't have what it took to rebound. I figured they would be fine in spring and summer, but would struggle here. Turns out that if all 5 players played drastically better than I expected, they end up being a pretty good team after all. Kana has been playing at the level of his import slot, Kalist did the unthinkable and actually played akin to the expectations people had of him, Targamas randomly decided to become a good support again, Yike proved that he didn't need G2 to carry him, and Vladi just decided to become the best performing player in the region for no reason. KC fought a difficult battle with Fnatic in the lower bracket finals that went to 5 games, and then proceeded to stomp the living daylights out of G2 in the finals, going 3-0 and genuinely just looking like the better team across the board. Honestly, I have no expectations for this team. They could continue to surprise and take games off of everyone, but they might also just be the worst team there. Either way, I'm excited to see what the Dynasty Destroyers have in store for us, and I think this team is poised to have a promising future. Next is the LTA, which had one of the most offensive formats I've ever seen in my entire life. 4 separate teams were taken out of contention in just 2 series, and the winning team, Team Liquid, played just 17 games to take home the title. The LTA was split into North and South, and both sides with 8 teams each played a best of 3 double elimination bracket to determine which 4 teams from each side moved onto the playoffs. The playoffs were a single elimination best of 3, all the way until the finals, where we got the first and only best of 5 of the whole format. TL didn't have the most convincing run either. They got swept by 100 Thieves in the North bracket, and then lost the game against FlyQuest for seeding, and then they dropped games to both Easterus Astral and C9 before sweeping 100 Thieves back in the finals. The highlight for this team all year has been the lackluster performance of their jungler, Umpty. There were glimpses of this last year where it felt like Umpty was always the player to make the first mistake anytime TL felt like they could punch above their weight, but it's been extremely obvious this split that Umpty is the worst performing member of the team. Whether it's the legendary 012 Vi game, or the 06 loss to IE, or the 06 loss to C9, you can be sure that Umpty will try his absolute hardest to int away at least one game in every series TL play. With the jungler being so weak though, how did TL manage to win the split? Well, it's because Yon and CoreJJ have been putting up absolute masterclasses in basically every game the team plays. While Impact may be underperforming a bit, it's still Impact and he's always going to be solid, and APA has had strong moments as well. Really though, it's TL's bot lane that got them to this point, and it will be fun to see what they can do against the other top bot lanes from the other regions. Finally, we have the LCP, and their entire split has been a banger from start to finish, thanks to the top 4 teams all trading games with each other. Talon went in as the favorites, but dropped a series to CFO. CFO in turn dropped a series to Team Secret, who lost to both Talon and Vikings lost to CFO and Talon. In this crazy 4-team battle, playoffs was sure to be competitive, and it definitely was. Team Secret fell off of a cliff, but the other 3 teams all proved that they were without a doubt the 3 best teams in the region. The Vikings beat Talon in a best of 3, then Talon beat them back in a best of 5, and then CFO took away the win in the end in finals. Going into the season, I said CFO's big question mark was their mid laner, 17-year-old rookie Hongqiu. CFO also continued their trend from last year of not knowing which top laner to play, as they have both Rest and Driver. As of now, they still don't know which top laner to play, as both of them seem to be pretty solid. Personally, I prefer Driver, but it's not up to me sadly. The other question mark they had though, their rookie mid laner, turned out to be not a problem at all. In fact, Hongqiu rose far beyond my expectations, showing that he can compete with and outperform other proven names like Kati, Fate, and even Fofo. I thought he would have laning struggles like most new players, but Hongq definitely played well during the lane phase and showed a strong base of mechanics as well as a mid to late game clutch gene that will take him far. The rest of the team is about as strong as you could expect. A core of Junjia, Doggo, and Kaiwing will basically never let you down. As for expectations, I do think CFO come in as the underdogs of the tournament. We know many of the players on this team can be competitive internationally, but whether or not they can be competitive with the best team of each region internationally is a whole different story. I don't think this team will just roll over and die though. Doggo, Kaiwing, and Junjia are all major region level players for sure, and the solo laners for this team aren't dirty inters either. And that will do it for the teams. While there's only 5 of them, and they won't play that many games, I'm hoping there will be a few exciting matchups in store. The full game schedule for the group stage has been released, so I'll show that off here. We start with NA versus EU and LPL versus LCK on day 1, so it's sure to be a fun first day if nothing else. That's all I have for you for this one. I have a Twitch stream and a Discord server, links to both will be in the description. I also have a Ko-fi page and any tips are highly appreciated. I'll see you all next time. Bye!